Hi, Matt here. What you can see here is me painting a skate deck. So it's a custom paint that I'm just not necessarily making up as I go along. I've just kind of done this Art Deco background thing before in various paintings, and I thought it'd be nice to do it on a board. The board itself is going to be for auction. It's going to go in an auction with 23 other boards, I think, that are all done by, I think there's something like 20 artists and there's 23 boards. This is the second one that I'm doing. Done another one, but I didn't video that other project, which is why I kind of thought I'd video this one. It'd be nice to do that. And we're going to go towards generating funds for a small skate park in a place called Small Dole, which is a little village outside of Brighton. And they've got some skate ramps out there that are made of wood. They're quite ropey and they're kind of falling down. And so my friend Nikki is trying to generate funds along with a committee. And they're trying to sort of get things together so that they can revamp the skate park and make it a better space for people who are into skating, skateboarding that is. I'll admit that I'm not a skateboarder. Skateboards scare the shit out of me. I've been on them about 3 or 4 times. I can just about keep myself going. I do roller skate. It's not the same thing, but you can't paint roller skates. Roller skates aren't cool to paint like skateboards are. So, you know, I welcomed this challenge. I welcome this opportunity to paint a couple of skateboards for Nikki and the project. So these are all going to go into auction, and they're going to be auctioned on Saturday the 10th of September 2022, which is tomorrow, as I record this video. So yeah, anyway, you can see me sort of working my way through here on the board. I've done the background there. It was a quick, I might put a slower video up of the background actually, because it was sort of quite involved, but at this speeding up the video to this, it kind of seems like I caned through it, and I did take care overdoing it, and it wasn't completely random. It's fairly random. What I'm doing now is I'm just sketching out some figures. Now these figures are from the 70s pool, the original 70s pool riders that came from the Dogtown crew, who are quite well documented. There's a really good documentary about the Dogtown pool riders, and they'd made a film, I think, called The Lords of Dogtown, which kind of dramatises their lives. But these are people from there, so they were on the Zephyr skate team, which was set up in that early time, and they kind of revolutionised what skateboarding was at the time. And so me being a nerd of all kinds, you know, a history nerd, and you know, somebody that appreciates originality, creativity, and all that sort of thing. You know, I kind of, these people appealed to me. So down the bottom here, I'm just getting to work on Stacy Peralta. So there was limited resource. I quite like taking photos from videos if I'm going to do characters on something. Normally, but these were from Skateboarder magazine, I think, or one of those early publications of skateboarding magazines that came out in the early 70s, and they did loads of these kind of videos of these guys, photos of these guys riding pools, and you know, riding in it was a new style. It was a completely new style. Skateboarding in the 60s, you know, was kind of very upright and competitive, and kind of not terribly creative. I know it was creative to a degree, and then these guys came along who were surfers and got into skateboarding, and they really ripped it apart and made it, you know, a whole different thing. And it sort of, you know, started its journey towards modern skateboarding and giving that kind of coolness. Believe it or not, skateboarding wasn't kind of thought as terribly cool in the 60s when it was first sort of knocking about. So the second character here that I'm working on, I've just sort of roughed out the bottom one, Stacy Peralta there. I kind of filled in a little bit. This is Peggy Oki, who was the only female member of the Zephyr team. And there's some really nice pictures of her pool riding, but this was a picture that I took of her kind of, they had this low to the ground where they would sort of run their hands along the ground like as if they were sort of like, you know, running their hands through waves that they'd be surfing on. Don't know if you can hear my cat there. He's joining in, trying to give me some sort of input. Is that all right? So this is Peggy Oki, and I'm just filling them out. This is the kind of first pass over here. Like I drew the characters out in a kind of white acrylic pen on top of the thing. I've used, you can see in the background there's me with the reference photos in the background there. So there's the one of Peggy, and she's riding, I don't know where that is, but it's like a concrete incline, and she's sort of treating it like a wave and sort of going in very low and dragging her hand along the floor. Moving on to the next character. So as I say, I'm just filling these in. Some of them were like the bottom two there were going quite well. I got to this third character and slightly, you know, full of myself and confident that it was all going to go well. This third character here is going to be Jay Adams, who was much famed for being one of the kind of top riders at the time and innovators of the pool riding style, and a really good surfer apparently. So I'm just kind of filling him in, blocking it in here with some major colours. I tend to do the backgrounds. This is something I do in a lot of my paintings, is I will do a background. Normally then, you know, it'll be an abstract background, which is, I'm winging it my way through the abstract background. I might have a sort of idea like this Art Deco style. As I said, I've done a few of these before. And then I'll get the background out, and then normally with my paintings, not with this board because I had this stuff in mind beforehand, but normally with my paintings I then just stick them in a pile and do more abstracts, because I find abstracts flow easier than the fine art stuff, which takes longer and takes a lot more concentration. And then you know, I look at one of those abstracts, and one day it'll kind of strike me and I go, oh yeah, I'm going to do that over the top of it, and then I'll do some sort of fine art over the top of it. So this is quite typical of me, that I will complete the background and then I will go over the top and create something on top of the background. And it's visible in my paintings. You can see the background coming through it. I don't know if it's a good or a bad thing. To be honest, I don't give a shit. So Jay Adams I've roughed out there, and I've moved on to the top one, which is Tony Alva, who's still skating these days. This is kind of a picture taken from a reference picture in the early 70s, or around the early 70s. And he's still out there pool riding and doing his thing. So I filled him in. That went quite quickly. What you didn't see there is I forgot to video a little part where I'd filled in Stacey Peralta and kind of got it to a finished level. So this is the second pass over Peggy Oki, and I'm trying to fill in the details of the face. There's a thing with portraits. When you're doing portraits, sometimes you can be painting them and you think they're going quite well, and you kind of just, you know, keep getting in there and daubing the paintbrush in there, and all of a sudden you look at it and you go, oh, who's that? Is that the person that I want to be? And you'll look at your reference photo and you go, what have I done? And you have to kind of slow down. I find if I slow down, this is very much speeded up video, but if I slow down, then you know, I then start to get closer and closer to a likeness, and I slow myself right down, and sort of it's a good job I speeded this up. It would be well boring otherwise. I took quite a long time over this, I think, and some of the characters, as I say, go better than others. So I've slowed right down now, and I'm sort of picking out details, and I'm trying to get the shadowing in, and sort of, you know, I've got just doing the shadow on the floor there to kind of give it some sort of context. Yeah, getting to the end of that, getting happier with it. It's little by little. I think with painting, I mean, for me, you know, I'm a self-taught painter. I wouldn't say I'm the best painter, but I've got a lot of ideas. There's there they are. There's two of them. There's Stacey Peralta and Peggy Oki in their finished states. As I say, for me, I have to slow right down and kind of, pull my neck in quite a lot to not get carried away and not, inverted commas, mess things up. Because, messing up, that's in your own head. But if you're doing portraits, I guess, the likeness needs to be quite close. So here I am working on Jay Adams, doing the second pass over him. This one went okay. It went okay. I was just sort of, probably I probably went straight on from the other one. If I find them particularly difficult, I have to have a big break and go and drink coffee and, eat biscuits to console myself that, things aren't as bad as they might seem. Yeah, there you go. Filling in. It's funny with shapes, you do a shape of somebody doing something like this, and a lot of it looks alien, and without context. It looks like you're drawing the weirdest shapes ever, and then you step back from it and you go, oh yeah, right, yeah, that actually looks like a person doing a thing. So I'm not a photoreal painter. I am not pretending to be a photoreal painter. I'm get quite close to doing things. I chose to write their names on it. Personal choice. I'm probably to remind me of the fact they were. So moving on to Tony Alva. Tony Alva was more difficult than the others. I found him more difficult to paint than the other ones. And I had to have a couple of goes. I've actually, I'll get to a certain point with this where I'm painting him where it will have a little jump, and that's because I spent an extra hour where, like I say, I'd lost the likeness, and he went away. I was sort of, struggling to get him in the right place and getting everything, all the planes in the right angles and that sort of thing, and getting the shadows in and getting the proportions right for this weird position that he's in. I don't know where that is. I think it might have happened already. It might have, the extra hour might have been added in there. But he gets all of a sudden better at a certain point. Yeah, he took longer than all the others. And getting things like it's weird what colours I have to use. I use all sorts of different colours to try and paint over the top. I'm painting with acrylics. So they're fast drying acrylics, but I used a lot of layering on it to try and get colours that I want to get and stuff like that. And I'll use colours that possibly don't seem like the right thing to kind of get a, like with the browns on the skateboards. I was putting pinks on there. I was putting sort of other things to try and get it to where I wanted, and they weren't the colours that seemed obvious. I'm getting to the end of this now. He has suddenly got better there writing his name, so I must have finished him. And then the last thing I'm doing here is I'm doing the Team Zephyr logo. It's a very quick little thing. I say a quick little thing, it probably took me ages. And there you go. That's the end of the board. So as I say, this board is up for auction tomorrow, and I'm really interested to see how it goes. But there you go. Pretty pleased with it, to be honest.